Hello, today I will be showing you how to use Python to access databases and data tables in MySQL Workbench. Now before we get started, the assumption is that you have a MySQL Workbench set up and you have a table in there that you're ready to use and pull into your Python shell. So assuming that's all set up, we can now go ahead and get started with creating our Python script. So, the first thing you need to do is you need to install a module called MySQL-connector-Python up here. And you need to have a -Python at the end, otherwise it won't recognize the module. So after you've done a pip install of MySQL-connector-Python, you need to restart your shell, ready for it to be imported. So once it's restarted, we can now use the import command to import MySQL.connector, and in this case I've given it an alias of MSQ because that's easier for me. So wherever we're calling MSQ in the code, we are calling the MySQL.connector module. Cool. The first thing we need to do is we need to connect to our MySQL server. And we can do that through the use of the function of connect. So if we type in MSQ calling MySQL.connector.connect, we can now have a way to connect to our MySQL server. So you need to fulfill at least 3 parameters in order to connect. That is user, password, and host. And the user and host can be found, if you open it, can be found right at the start in the home section, down here, where you have the details of each one of your databases. I've only got one. So very simple, the user is the face and the name is the word or number next to the face, or the combination of the two. And then below that you have the host, which is the IP address, excluding the colon and the 4 numbers on the right, because that is the port that it's being used. So the user is the top here and the host is at the bottom. And the password is the password you use to log in to your server. So now the next step is to choose a table to pull into our Python shell. So let's go to MySQL Workbench and let's choose a table. So this software comes with some practice tables or some pre-installed tables for you. So we're going to choose one of those. So if you go to World, Tables and City, we're going to choose this one here. So let's just pull the select rows of the city, and here we have our output here. So this is what's in the table. 5 columns, is it? 5 columns, and I think it's about 5,000 rows. Cool. So we're going to pull that by using our Python shell and put it into our Python shell. So firstly, we need to write our query. So this is where our knowledge of writing SQL comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to write our SQL. This one's a very basic tutorial, so we're going to start with a very basic SQL pull. And we're just going to do select star, which is select everything from world.city, because this table sits in world and it's a city table within world. So once we've done that, we can put that in quotation marks and we've given that the variable query. So once we've written our code, we now need to execute our code. And we need to basically combine our query with our connect, because at the moment they're separate. And we can do that by firstly utilizing our variable dbConnect, which is our connection. And then by typing in db_connect.cursor, and then we give that a variable SQL run, we can now link them both together by typing in SQL run .execute and then in brackets query, which is our query. And these 2 lines link our connection and the table with our query together. And then the final thing is to print our results. So if we type in SQL run, which is our query run using our connection, dot fetch all, and then empty brackets, we can now give that the variable output. And then from then on, it's just a simple for loop to print our results so that it is one row per line as it is displayed in the table. So let's do that. Let's run this now. Hopefully we'll have our final result. There we go. You see, now we have our data table pulled from MySQL workbench and put into our Python shell, ready to do whatever we want to it. We may want to do a graph using matplotlib or Seaborn, or we may even want to do some proper statistical stuff. Who knows? I mean, the world's your oyster on this. So we can actually check this as well, actually. Let's do that. Let's go here. We go, one is Cabal, AFG, Cabal, 1, 7, 8, and 4 zeros. So here you go, Cabal, AFG, Cabal, 1, 7, 8, and 4 zeros. Let's choose a more random one. Let's go for number 10, Tilburg, Nord Brabant, and then 193238. So 10, Tilburg, NOD, Nord Brabant, 193238. Seems to be pulling through correctly. And we can also check if it gets it all by just going to the bottom. It has Rafa and PSC, and then at the bottom we have, oh, because it only pulled the first 1,000 here. So that's it for this tutorial. Please do subscribe to my channel. Please do donate to Patreon if you feel like it deserves a donation. And I look to see you again in the future. Thanks very much for watching.